So what do you think about? I think I asked you this a couple days ago, Willow or Olivia, but a lot of advice on trying to determine whether your client is warm or cool. We hardly ever hear anybody mention neutral, but there are neutral skin types out there. Quite a few of them, actually. But when you're trying to determine whether your client is warm, neutral, or cool, how do you determine that? A lot of people will tell you to look at the veins on the inner wrists, right? To look at the veins on the inner wrists. You are not a tattooer, Willow. And when I asked you that, does that sound right to you? That did not sound right to you.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Did it just strike you as like,
Well, I mean, I feel like that could be an influence, but I don't know how that would really go with undertones. I feel like that's more like what your blood looks like seen through it. Like it's not really like, to me it doesn't connect.
Yeah, and you're not even a tattooer. But I think maybe you just picked that up. Did you pick that up from working on Beyond the Epidermis with me, or was that just something like it that doesn't connect for me?
I feel like
why
I
would
wouldn't,
you
I
look
wouldn't
at
look at my wrist to figure out the undertone of my face. Like I feel like that was where it didn't make sense to me.
Right. It doesn't make sense, right? So I've never understood the philosophy of looking at your wrists, and that will tell you whether you're the undertone of your client or if your client's warm, cool, or neutral. That just never made sense to me. Even as a young artist, before I really truly understood color theory, that just didn't connect for me. It didn't make sense. Why would what the skin in my wrist area or the colors of my veins in my wrist area, how is that going to help me out at all in determining the temperature and the undertone of the facial skin? Because think about it this way. What if you got a client that's out there tanning, and her wrists don't see, any sun, her arms aren't getting tanned, but her face is getting a lot of sun, or it just doesn't make sense. It's not accurate, and I would advise against it. And I know when you go we got on the internet the other day, and when you're on the internet and you Google, how do you determine if a client's cool or the veins, it's all over the internet. Oh, just look at their veins. If their veins are green, then your client's warm. If the veins are blue, then they're cool. But that is not accurate. And maybe it would make more sense to me if we were tattooing the wrist area, but we're not. We're tattooing really far away from the wrist. We're up on the face. The face gets lots of exposure, from sun and from heat, from retinols and lasers and peels and all the kinds of things that we do to our face. And we have to look at that skin. We have to look there. And not just the brow area, but the entire face. I always teach everybody to look at the entire face. Just step back and just take 30 seconds and look at the entire face. Take it all in, and that will tell you. And in my Beyond the Epidermis, there's lots of things I tell you to look for. Little things. If you see this, this, and this, well, then it's neutral. If you see this, this, and this, then it's, blah, 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 blah. So same with whether it's a purple undertone, blue undertone, green undertone. Lots of people struggle seeing those undertone colors, but there's identifiers, I call them, that will help you determine whether it's a blue undertone, a green undertone, a purple undertone, right? A warm undertone, since we're talking about warm. There are very specific identifiers that if those identifiers are present, then it's going to be a blue or a purple or a green or whatnot. And so I think it, this book is going to help make it much more easier for clients. Is it going to make it so easy that you don't have to read and read again and study and put it to practice? No, of course not. There's nothing exists that's going to keep the artist from having to really study this and absorb it and apply it. And the more faces you look at, the more faces you assess, then the better you are going to be, the sharper you're going to become in identifying, both overtone, the undertone color, and then the overall skin temperature, whether it's a warm, neutral, cool level 1, 2, or 3. And I wouldn't want to make this so easy that you didn't have to study and learn, right? I think if you pick this craft, if you love this craft, if you love the art of PMU, then you want to learn, right? You're craving knowledge. You're craving the information. You're not just craving the information, but you really want to absorb it and learn it. So it just becomes a part of you. You know it so well, it becomes a part of you. Because when you learn color theory, needles, machines, and all these different areas of PMU, when you really, really learn them, that just empowers you as an artist. It makes you much better at your craft. And every little thing, every little aspect, when they all align, then it's almost like you can predict your outcomes. You're healed in results are almost predictable. And isn't that like a great place to be as a PMU artist when you can practically predict your healed in results, the tone, how much they're going to retain, the saturation levels, and all that. It is achievable. It is achievable. Not with every client. There's always going to be, curveballs and things beyond our control that happen. But we definitely, as artists, can get to a place where we're super confident and our healed results do become much more predictable. So no veins, man. No veins.
Would you say that the veins in like the eyelids might help? Is that maybe how that idea got spread across the internet?
I don't know, but I think when I'm going to do a brow, I look at the eyelids. You see the eyelids because the eyelids are right there, and those eyelids have an undertone as well. Willow, they can be really blue. You can have really blue eyelids. You can have really lavender, purpley eyelids. You can have really like pink eyelids. You can have very neutral eyelids. So I think the eyelid is a good place to look to assist you in identifying the undertone of that client. It's like one little piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Because when we're identifying undertones, we're looking at multiple different places and piecing it all together to come up with the correct undertone, right?
Yeah.
And the eyelid is one of those places. I talk about that in the book for sure. And there's other places on the face I want them to look and assess. And there's just things. I don't want to give it all away, but absolutely, it's like piecing the puzzle together. And let's say you have 7 pieces, and 5 of them are telling you she's a purple, and 2, you're not really sure. It's not really leading you to a color. But if 5 out of 7 are leading you to a purple undertone, then most likely that client is a purple undertone, right? And not all purple undertones are going to affect our healed end result and have our color heal all purple. It depends on the intensity. Like how much purple are we seeing? Are we seeing just barely a tint of purple? Or when you look at that client, you're like, holy moly, she's a lavender. She's got some purple going on, or she's got some blue going on. Some people have very strong undertone colors, right? And when they have a strong undertone color, it can highly affect our healed in results. When they have, when the color is much more subtle, like it's weak, you know, it's not really strong, then that's going to have less effect, less influence on our target colors and our healed in results. So I'm always talking about the intensity of the color as well. So lots of things to look at. So, you know, beyond the epidermis, you know, the packet, I mean, that's going to be sold. You know, I decided I think I'm going to sell that separately. So if you didn't want to take the color theory course, like, you know, at least you can purchase that, and it's pretty affordable. But I would encourage you, like, if you get beyond the epidermis and the color theory course, the combination of those two, and you apply yourself, I just think it's going to make you a color theory badass. I really, really, really do. I think it's one of the best things like I've ever published and produced. So, yay. Okay.